In this video, you will learn how to use Cerebro and listing builder tools by Helium 10 to craft your listing, your Amazon listing. First, you will use Cerebro to find keywords, and then those keywords you will transfer to Listing Builder to craft your listing, to get copy of your bullets, of your title, and you will have very interactive screen to show what keywords are already included and what are not. My guest in this video is brand ambassador Shivali from Helium 10, and if you would like to try Helium 10 for yourself, find the links below together with the coupon codes in the description of this video. Hello Shivali, it's nice to have you here back on the channel. We will be talking about listing optimization, Amazon listing optimization. And before we jump into more details, can you please introduce yourself and tell us how you help Amazon sellers?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Augustus, for having me back on. I am Shivali Patel, as he said. I'm a brand evangelist with Helium 10, as well as an Amazon seller. I've sold books, I've sold product before, and I am very excited today to talk to you a little bit about some Helium 10 tools. Today's video is really going to be about Cerebro and Listing Builder, how you can use and find your competitors' keyword strategies and use them for your own benefit, as well as building out that listing once you have those keyword lists compiled.
I hope this video will be this tutorial will be useful for Amazon sellers around the world, because Helium 10 works in many marketplaces, many regions. You will find the link below in the description as well. If you want to take advantage of the discount, use the coupon code which you will find below for 10% off lifetime or 20% off for the first 6 months. I think we're ready to jump into the content. Thank you.
Sure. So I am currently taking a look at Cerebro. This is our reverse ASIN keyword research tool. That means you can put in the ASIN for whatever product listings or niche that you are interested in and get all of those top performing keywords back in return for the search results. I have a few queued up, but I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how I got these. So the market or niche that we're currently looking at is the coffin shelf market, our Project X product. And what I did is I simply went in on Amazon, typed in the keyword for that niche, and then I used our Chrome extension to click X-ray, which is going to give me that 10,000 foot overview. We talked about this a little bit in our last video, I believe. And you're going to select whichever products that you want to take a closer look at. Typically, the first one that you select will be your seed product, and then you can select any other ones that are competitors. Now, it's important to note that sometimes when you're looking at a niche, not all the products that are really on that page are your competitors. Sometimes you can have different listings. So for example, this one's a makeup coffin shelf. That's going to be a little bit different from our standard coffin bookshelf. And you'll want to keep that in mind as you're selecting those products to find those keywords that are super relevant to your niche. I went ahead and selected 4 of them and clicked Run Cerebro. Now, when I clicked Run Cerebro, that's when this automatically populated into the search bar, and it gave me the option of course, it went directly into the search results, but you also have the option for running additional filters. Now, this is really, really cool, you guys, because there is so much you can do with Cerebro. You can find keywords where your competitors are ranking maybe in the top 15 positions organically. You can type in, maybe you only want to see, I typed in 4 ASINs. You can type in minimum of 2 with a competitor rank of somewhere between 1 and 50. So you can find at least 2 of those ASINs are ranking somewhere in those top 50 positions. If I wanted to take a look at, let's see what else we have here. We also have match type. So maybe I want to reverse engineer my competitors' ASIN strategies. So I would be able to go through here and select that information where I select sponsored product. How I can tell if a specific competitor is maybe running a very small PPC campaign, maybe they're only doing exact match, you'd be able to see that here underneath keyword distribution where you have the paid category. So here, this person or these ASINs have 786 roughly for keyword distribution. But if I were to, let's say, do a single ASIN search, instead of 4, I had only selected 1, I'm only doing my product or only a competitor's product, and I saw that maybe there's only 30 paid keywords, then I could completely reverse engineer their PPC strategy and figure out which keywords they're using. And that is invaluable, right? Especially when you are just getting into a market, you're breaking into that market, or maybe you have been around for a while and now you want to kind of tap into some of these new competitors that are growing really fast. You'd be able to figure out what they're doing. So here, let's scroll down a little bit. I see that I have 4,051 filtered keywords based off those 4 ASINs that I inputted. Now I can see which ASINs that I had inputted right here by just selecting this arrow. I can also see that keyword distribution, as I kind of talked about. You have your total keywords split into organic and paid. If I wanted to take a look at the historical trend, I would be able to do that simply by clicking this icon. And you can see that I can then go into individually each ASIN and see how those keywords really vary based off organic and sponsored as the months progress, which is really, really, really cool. And you can see the seasonality of it at any time. If you wanted to divvy that out into different time frames, you would be able to do that. You can also segment that into different keyword types of organic and paid if you only want to see one or the other. Let's jump back out of this box right here and go back up to these filters. So here I told you you had the option of kind of sectioning out these filters from 4,000 into a more reasonable number of keywords that you will actually want to use for your listing. Of course, there's a number of ways you can do this, and I won't get the chance to cover all of that today. However, I will talk to you a little bit about a few different strategies. So you have the top keywords right here. This is going to show you all those keywords that are showing up for most of these ASINs. So I'm going to go ahead and click that. And this is a one-click filter. You literally just click it, and it's going to input some information into these filters that you can then go ahead and narrow in on or expand as you would like. For the top keywords, as you can see, it put in a minimum of 500 for search volume. That means at least 500 searches are being made in the Amazon search bar every single month for these keywords that are showing up in the search results queries. You also have at least 2 of those 4 ASINs. We talked about this a little bit earlier in this video, where they're showing up, 2 of those ASINs are showing up 1 through 40 in those positions. And then, of course, if we take a look down below, we went from 4,000 keywords to only about 7. So these 7, I will want to make sure that they're relevant. 7 is maybe not the most amount of keywords. And you might look at this and be like, oh, only 7 keywords. Well, remember, guys, there was about 4,000 keywords. And these 7 specifically are based off of those 2 of 4 ASINs competing. At least 2 of 4 ASINs are showing up for, has at least minimum search volume of 500. So if I wanted, I could go through and expand this to maybe I want to see 1 out of 50, or maybe I just want to see 1 of those 4 ASINs. But that would go back to the 4,000, right? With only the minimum of search volume for 500. So just keep that in mind and play around with those top keyword filters as you put them in, as you would like to find those keywords. I can go through and see that this one says coffin shelf. Coffin shelves is plural, coffin decor. Maybe coffin decor is going to be a little bit more broad, so maybe I don't want to include that in my listing. Or maybe I do. It's really up to you. You also have coffin bookshelf large, and coffin mirror. Now, coffin mirror could be one of those words that I want to keep for my PPC campaigns, right? Because somebody who's interested in a coffin mirror is also probably going to be interested in a coffin bookshelf. However, it's not necessarily something that maybe you want to include in your listing. Yes, you could totally throw it into a bullet point of like, hey, if you are someone who really enjoys coffin mirrors or coffin, pen holders, then you'll really enjoy this coffin bookshelf. Totally plausible. But if you don't want to include it, maybe you're segmenting this out into different folders. So you could go through and unhighlight or highlight based off of what keywords you want to include, and then click add to my list. I'm going to be creating a brand new folder for this specific demo. And let's go ahead and do that. We'll click create new folder. I'm going to zoom out here. And then let's make this our coffin shelf. Cerebro and Listing Builder. I'm just going to type that in for now. And I'm saving this in the US marketplace. So as Augusta said earlier, we do have a number of different marketplaces you guys can utilize these tools on. Just make sure that whatever core market you are interested in, that you take the time to switch that out up here. So right here, it's in the US marketplace. You'll want to go into whichever marketplace is of your interest, because you don't want to be doing research for, let's say if you're selling in the German market, you don't want to be doing that research in the American market and vice versa. I'm going to go ahead and make sure that I've added these. If you are creating a new folder, you will need to create that folder and then go through and actually add it. Let's see if I can find it here. Coffin Shelf CLB. There it is. So I'm just adding it now since I created the folder in the first one, and it went ahead and added that information. So I'm going to unhighlight these and talk to you guys a little bit about what these other filters really do. So let's go ahead and clear out this top keywords, one quick filter I did, and talk a little bit about these opportunity keywords. So these opportunity keywords are maybe the ones that you can really use that all of your competitors are not fully utilizing the potential for. So this is going to use some different filters. You have your competitor performance that you're going to see. You can see that this one showed up with even less. Now you have different ones. You have Gothic Shelf, Gothic Shelves, Gothic Shelf Curio. So this looks like it's some sort of display shelf. And had I not used Cerebro, that's something that I wouldn't have been able to find. So this is only 4 filtered keywords. Again, guys, you totally will be able to find more than just 4 to 7 keywords. It just is a matter of how you utilize all of these filters. Remember, we started with 4,000. So this inputted automatically a 5 for maximum for competitor performance. And what competitor performance is looking at is a measure of how successful the listed competitors are as a group for the given keyword. So let's say that of all of these 4 ASINs, right, when you're taking a look, for the last one, we had 2 of those 4 ASINs. For this one, you can see that there's a relative rank, and this is going to tell you how these are really showing up. So I put in an advanced outside of the 5 as maximum competitor performance. This also takes a look at advanced rank filters. So what advanced rank filters really looks at is this is saying at least a minimum of 1 of these ASINs and a maximum of 2 are showing up organically in the top 15 positions. So this is monitoring how many of those ASINs are showing up in the top half of that first page. Those top 10 positions are incredibly important, right? Especially when you're indexing. You want to get as much traffic as possible. You want to be converting for those. And so this is going to take a look at which ones that maybe those competitor ASINs of yours are ranking on the top 10 positions. But if you simply went in there and you ran some PPC campaigns, or maybe you ran it alongside the CPR number, which I can talk to you about in just a moment here, you would be able to score some sales. All right. Here, if I hover over the relative rank, it shows me that one of these is in the top 10, and then the rest of them are not in the top 10. So this means that maybe this is one of those keywords that, yes, if I went in and I actually ranked in the top half, then of these, this search volume that's actually going to this page, I would be able to have some success in generating sales because my competitors are also interested in these keywords. Now, let's say we want to talk a little bit about the CPR number. The CPR number is going to tell me how many units over the course of 8 days I'm going to want to generate sales for to rank on page 1 for that keyword. So this means that I need to have at least 10 units over the span of 8 days. Below this, the second keyword, what is this keyword right here? Gothic Shelves requires 26 units over 8 days to rank on page 1. So this means that maybe this is about 3 to 4 units a day if I were running some PPC campaigns for this specific keyword. Once my sales hits about 3 to 4 per day, I can pause that campaign up until the next day. So this can save you some money when it comes to PPC. And that's why specifically Cerebro is so cool, because yes, you can reverse engineer your competitors' PPC campaigns and their strategy, but you can also figure out how to rank on page 1 for these keywords that you are interested in that are relevant to your niche. And you can also, in turn, find all of those keywords that do have a lot of search volume simply by using these filters. So if I went in and I said, maybe I want to find the search volume of at least 1,000, or maybe I went in and for keyword sales, hopefully you can still read this. I said, maybe I want to see those keywords that are generating at least 4 sales per day for my competitors. And then I can empty out these other filters, or maybe I want to take a look at, those keywords that specifically of the 4,000 had Gothic or coffin or shelf inside of the phrase containing. I would be able to type that in separated by commas right here and quickly find all of those keywords that are highly relevant. So let's go ahead and at least add these, except for Curio, since I don't find that all of those products are directly corresponding to what I have in mind. All right, let's give me a moment here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and add it. And since that folder was already created, I didn't have to recreate it. I'm going to clear this out and let's just find a few more keywords that we want to add to our folder. So here I'm going to type in for phrases containing. Maybe I want to find the ones that say shelf, that say coffin. Maybe I want, what's something else related to this niche? Gothic. And yeah, let's just keep it at that for now. And then maybe I want to see that at least 1 through 50 for competitor rank. Let's go ahead and apply the filter and see where it narrows down to 0. Okay, so this is interesting, right? Because we segmented this out by different phrases containing. Let's see if we can, it's because it's at all, that's why. All right, so don't be like me. Make sure that you switch over to any. So it said 0 for when I first typed it in. And it was a bit confusing because I'm thinking, where is that going wrong? But it was because I said all. So that means that when I typed in all, it was looking for keywords that had all of these inside of their actual keyword. If I change it to any, let's take a look. It says 54 filtered keywords, right? And again, you're going to want to go through and see if these are relevant. Now, if you're looking for PPC campaigns, totally fine if you find something like a coffin-shaped blanket. Again, you can totally throw that into a bullet point if you'd like, but not entirely the most relevant. Take a look at these search volumes. That's another thing to take a look at, right? I can have, yes, the phrases containing this, and maybe it's ranking super high for it, but is there actually demand? And when you don't have a lot of demand, then maybe that's not a keyword that you will really want to include. So let's go back up and adjust this a little bit. Let's go back and just type in shelf, since that's what we have. It's a coffin bookshelf. And then let's type in at least 1,000. And guys, it doesn't mean that you have to search for keywords that are 1,000. I've seen keywords at 500 that generate 4 or 5 sales because it's super specific to the niche. But what is going on? All right. So we have this one coffin shelf that we typed in earlier from the top keywords, right? And that's probably my fault because this is very close to the actual top keywords we generated. Let's take a look at what happens if we just include the shelf and the 1,000 for search volume. There we go. 70 filtered keywords. So this now is going to give me some of those parallel products. And you can see that all of these columns, you can drag and drop them if you want to see things kind of in advance, like at the start. But we have the Amazon brand analytics. If you are a diamond and above, you'll be able to access this as well. The click share, the conversion share, and then the search frequency rank, excuse me. And then you also have the keyword sales. So take a look at this. For the ASINs that we have, and in accordance with the keywords, you have about 840 sales for the black shelf specifically. But again, black shelf is a little bit more broad, so it's really up to you if you want to include this. I'm going to go ahead and pop this in, and then you can go through and just select things that you feel are relevant. So you have shelf decor aesthetic. Again, I want to see things that are a little bit more coffin based. I'm going to wrap this up here so I can show you guys how you can use these keywords, where you can access them, and then add them to the listing builder. All right, so we have the coffin mirror. I'm just going to go ahead and bulk add these. Let's see. Not the cute shelf. Let's do the black shelf. Let's do coffin mirror. We'll do the coffin bookshelf, coffin decor. We have the large floating shelf, which is, you can use this as a floating shelf or not. If you want, you may find things that you don't entirely know. So let's say you wanted to figure out what that is. You'll want to pop it open. We have the crescent moon shelf. So this, I feel like, is kind of on theme for what we have. I'm going to go ahead and select that. We have a coffin purse. Like I said, if you want to divvy this out with PPC, just make a different folder. But for now, for the sake of time, I'm just going to go ahead and bulk add these. All right. All right. So we have 10. Let's. And you can see that we also have the word frequency up here, and that's just going to kind of show you which words are showing up the most for the keywords that are given. All right, let's pop over to the actual keywords. So if I go into Listing Builder, right, you'll be able to find those keywords underneath keyword research in the My Folder section. But what's cool about Listing Builder is once you have those keywords selected, right, you'll be able to go into Listing Builder and actually pull directly from those folders. And that's super useful. When you go into the Listing Builder section, this is what you'll see. We have about 329 listings being used of 300 we can build out. It'll tell you if there's been an error with a listing being uploaded, which ones have been synced, how many are linked. And what that simply means is as long as you have your Helium 10 account associated to your Amazon account, it'll actually directly allow you to upload all the listings you build inside of our account directly to Seller Central. And so that'll save you some time between the copy and paste. Let's say I wanted to add a listing. I could go in and click create from scratch. If you already have a listing built out, totally fine. Just click get started and it'll allow you to pull that information and then sync it from there. I'm going to click get started. And then I can enter an ASIN or just click start building. I'm just going to click start building for now. And you have 3 different ways that you can really add keywords once you're inside of Listing Builder. So we talked a little bit about Cerebro and how you can find different keywords based off what you have in mind, or maybe a conjunction of all the strategies. You can find those sponsored keywords, the organic ones, the ones that are super relevant based off of maybe titles or words, specific words you have in mind. You can look based off demand, right? There are just a number of ways you can find keywords. And as you compile that list, you can then go into Listing Builder and directly pull from those folders. So when you're pulling from the folders, you have 3 different ways. You can pull from the folder that you just created. So let's see if we can find it right here. Maybe it's at the very bottom. There it is. So we have 17 keywords. I can click add to bank and it'll automatically add those words that we selected. We can also go up and let's say if we wanted to, even if we wanted to add a secondary folder, right, you would just be able to go through and select that if you would like. For example, this one says test coffin shelf words. Let's say that's a folder that we felt was, that we specifically built for building out this listing. We would just add that. And then if I wanted to get keyword suggestions, I would be able to go into that and type in 2 to 10 competitors to get specific suggested keywords. However, I would recommend that you start with Cerebro simply because you get a lot more information from using that tool. You can figure out the demand, you can figure out the number of competitors, you can figure out, a handful of other things. Whereas if you went in and you just selected that, all you're going to have access to here is the search volume, number of products, and then the CPR number, which again, we said is how many units need to be sold over 8 days for you to rank on page 1. Now, the folder that I just added is a lot more broad, as you can see, right? Because this was a folder we didn't create right now. But again, you should be able to get the gist simply based off of what I added, right? You can see why that if you went in and you only selected ASINs to get suggested keywords, it's going to be a lot more broad. You can also manually add keywords. So let's say, Augustus, you and I were talking, and then maybe you said something to me that really stood out in terms of what a search keyword would be. I could go ahead and input something here. So maybe you said something like Gothic, I don't know, decor for girl bedroom or something like that, or like minimalistic, I could just click add to bank and then it will add it to the very bottom of my actual list. So there it is, Gothic decor for girl bedroom. And it shows absolutely no information. So it's not really particularly searched for. But again, you guys, you have that option. So let's say that this was the information that we were interested in. Then you would be able to copy it to your clipboard or export it out if you would like. You could also just click next, as well as import keywords on the left-hand side. But when we click next, you'll see that all of my words that I had inputted, or the phrases, they're segmented into words and phrases on your left-hand side. And this is color coded. So the red ones are the ones that show up the most. And then the cooler tones are the ones that don't show up as much. And of course, looking at these, I threw in an additional keyword bank just so you guys could get a feel for that. You can add several keyword folders, but a lot of these aren't entirely relevant, right? I mean, bleeding, yes, it's on theme with the coffin shelf, but then you also have bride and board. It's just not all things that you would want to have, right? But you can see that they're a lot less in frequency in terms of these words showing up. And then you also have phrases. This is going to be by search volume. And it's the same exact idea. You'll see the red ones are the most, they have the most search volume, and the cooler tones are a lot less. What is really wonderful about the listing builder is at the bottom, you have listing analysis. And so as you are using these keywords that you have meticulously kind of curated, you can type that information in and get a feel for what your listing quality score will be, which is based off of Amazon's best practices on the left-hand side underneath your keywords and key phrases. You can also see your generated search volume. So when you are creating this out, you will not only know about how many views you would get based off of this optimized listing with the words that you have inputted, but also, is it really going to match Amazon's terms of service? And as you click finish and you link that listing up, it's automatically going to be in Seller Central getting updated. It's going to save you a lot of time. And when you go up, I'm going to show you as I type in coffin shelf, right? That says I want to use all those colored ones first. So coffin shelf, let's say I have coffin bookshelf. Let's add in large up front, large coffin bookshelf for Gothic bedroom. Maybe I want to add decor shelf with, what else? Floating. Let's put in floating decor shelf, right? You get the idea. I'm not going to sit here and fully write out this listing for you guys, but it is really here to help you understand how many times your words are being used, as well as which words have been used from your list. So if you're actually doing this manually, right, it's a lot harder. When I was getting started in Amazon and I was trying to build out my listing, I didn't use a tool like this. I was compiling all my lists in Excel, and then I was trying to write it out and keep a tally of like how many times I use the words. And it's simply not like that on a tool like this. Here, if I were to use, let's say in the book, in the bullet points, right? If I said floating shelf for anyone who is interested in coffin shaped trinkets, moon lovers, Gothic purse. I'm not sure, right? You get the idea. This is going to show you as I'm using these words. Now it's checking them off. So I've used it twice. Let's say this even has a section for the search terms and the subject matter. So let's say I wanted to use it in my subject matter again, then I would be able to just click ignore up here, and it will automatically remove how many times it's been used. So then you can reuse it underneath and make sure that you're still quite clean with the usage of the keywords that you've selected. You'll see that as I go down, it's the same exact thing for these phrases. If I were to take my ignore button off, and then I said float decor shelf with, okay, I see that one of the phrases is large floating shelf for men and women. You can see that it gets used, and then it also gets used in the phrases. And underneath, you have a terrible listing quality score, since I haven't finished building out this listing, alongside a generated search volume, which is going to tell me exactly how many people are going to be able to see this listing just simply based off the words and phrases I've used. You'll want to go through and take a lot more time than I did kind of showing you how to use these tools. You'll want to start with Cerebro. Of course, feel free to use other keyword research methods as well, such as talking to your neighbors. Maybe you're on Google and you want to check it out on Amazon. Make sure that you're cross-referencing and then compiling that list. Go into Listing Builder, pull all of that information in and start kind of playing around with how you can say things. Make sure that you're just not keyword stuffing. It's actually going to make sense for your user, because at the end of the day, your consumer is going to buy whatever they feel understood with, right? If you are thinking, I want a white marble coffee coaster cup, and then you have that specifically written in the title, they're going to connect with that a lot more, right? But especially they're going to connect with it if it makes sense to them, if it actually speaks to them. So make sure that you're not just keyword stuffing. It actually, don't be like me. You know, I have the Moon Lovers. It's what does Moon Lovers have to do with the coffin shelf? Make sure that it completely flows together. And then once you're done, go ahead and link that listing and click finish. At any point, if you wanted to actually go through and edit a listing that you already have. So if I went backwards, right, and I exited the builder, you can always check out the status once you have that linked. And then if, let's say, there's an error, or maybe you want to go through and edit something a little bit later on, maybe it's Valentine's Day and you want to add some Valentine's Day keywords, you can just click edit and then go in and actually fix up that listing as you would like to make sure that you're always staying up to date.
All right, thank you very much for this detailed tutorial of how to use Cerebro and Listing Builder for your Amazon product listings. And if you want to try Helium 10 tools, you will find the link below in the description. Thank you very much, Shivali, and good luck in your business. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
I hope this tutorial was useful for you. And if you have additional questions or comments about Helium 10 or the content you have seen in this video, don't forget to use comment section below in the description, and we will make sure to get answers for you. And if you want to sign up for Helium 10, you will find the links and coupon code below in the description as well. And now I would like to invite you to watch other video about Helium 10. This one is together with Bradley Sutton, and he will show you how to do a product research and find high demand and low competition products.